Hi, my name is Marge Benham-Hutchins, and this lecture will provide an overview of the systems development life cycle with a brief comparison to the nursing process. This is a brief overview of the nursing process, and I'm sure everybody is familiar with this process. But the first step is the assessment. That is when the nurse will collect and analyze data about a specific client. The next step is the diagnosis, and this is when the nursing diagnosis is formed based on the nurse's clinical judgment and what they have found in the assessment stage. The next step would be planning or outcomes, and that is developing a set group of measurable and achievable short and long-term goals for this patient. Implementation is when this plan is then actually implemented, and it is done in a way that allows for continuity of care. And then the evaluation is when the nurse would go back and evaluate their assessment, the diagnosis, the planning, and the implementation, and follow the process through again to determine what the patient's current and ongoing needs would be. The link at the bottom of the page will bring you to the American Nurses Association page with some more information on the nursing process. You can access this through the PDF notes handout version of this lecture.
Here's an example of the systems development life cycle. Once again, these steps are not necessarily sequential. They're dynamic and iterative. Usually you would start with the planning and analysis, decisions to build or buy a system or select a vendor, implementation of the system, maintenance of the system, and evaluation. Each phase has specific outcomes and deliverables, and there's a link here that you can get from the PDF version of this lecture that will give you a little bit more information on the systems development life cycle. This diagram shows the systems development life cycle and what they call the waterfall model. Once again, it shows that all of these stages go to one another and they go around and they cycle, and so that they repeat, and it's an ongoing process. Many times when we've looked at this in class, people have commented that they look at the systems development life cycle very similar to the nursing process, in that you go through these particular steps to reach a particular point, and then you constantly reevaluate. And this is why I think nurses are so good at a lot of project management, is because we already think that way. We already think in terms of a process that brings us around to the various steps and helps us identify the needs. So once again, the systems development life cycle is ongoing and overlapping. And one of them is the systems maintenance. And this is where the system is never really completely done. There's going to be changes, corrections, and additions. So it's not like, okay, we're done, it's finished. This is something that is constantly ongoing and that you have to do a review. So this process requires an overlap of a variety of activities and a return to earlier stages. So that waterfall model is just one type of systems development life cycle model. Many companies have customized versions, and one for software, I've provided a link here, the rapid application development, and that talks about the actual development of software using the systems development life cycle. So basically, most of them are very similar in their concepts, but the level of detail and emphasis on each stage may vary according to the needs of the particular organization or the task at hand.
The short paper assignment is to compare and contrast the systems development life cycle and the nursing process. Comparing means you're going to be looking for similarities, and contrasting, you're going to look for differences. A part of this assignment is mastering word processing, so be sure to read the content in your textbook on this topic. The paper itself should be 3 to 4 pages that include a cover page. The body of the paper should be a maximum of 2 pages. You should create and insert at least one diagram or table and use APA guidelines for labeling and citing the diagram or table in the text. You should have a reference list with a minimum of 2 references, and the paper should be APA formatted.